Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I want to know if I am clear, if you can hear me. If anybody can just unmute and say, okay, loud and clear, nice. Thank you, Uncle James. So my name is Okay, thank you. My name is Eric Obudai. I'm the CEO of IIAGHANA, and you are welcome to this afternoon's webinar, the Internal Auditor's Edge, Harnessing the Power of AI to Spot What Others Overlook. So just a few housekeeping rules, but before we do the housekeeping rules, let's say a short prayer. Father, we thank you for gathering us this afternoon. We pray that this session shall be educative, we shall learn, we shall imbibe, we shall apply what we are learning, and we shall share ideas to the glory of God. In Jesus' name we have prayed. Amen. All right, so thank you again. On behalf of the Governing Council of the Institute, you are all welcome to this webinar. We want to start by sharing some few housekeeping rules. And I just want to say that let's all try our best to keep our microphones muted throughout the session until we are asked to speak or ask a question. Then we can unmute. As much as possible to let us keep our videos off to save some bandwidth. We will be using the chat box to share. I mean, if you have any question or comments, you can put it in the chat box and we will address them as we go on. At this juncture, I want to invite Mrs. Brenda Mills-Papo to give us the welcome remarks. Mrs. Brenda Papo is the chair for our Certification and Professional Development Committee. Auntie Brenda, you're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much, CEO. Good afternoon to honorable members. On behalf of the Governing Council of the Institute, I warmly welcome you to today's webinar on the topic, the Internal Auditor's Edge, Harnessing the Power of AI to Spot What Others Overlook. As internal audit professionals, our value lies in seeing beyond the obvious. Today, AI is enhancing our capability, helping us to uncover hidden risk, patterns, and insights more effectively than ever before, and thus positioning us to better support our institutions in creating, protecting, and sustaining value. This afternoon, we want to explore how we can combine technology with professional judgment to strengthen our impact and stay ahead in a rapidly evolving environment. To help us explore this important topic, we are privileged to have with us an astute internal audit professional and a member of the Certification and Professional Development Committee in the person of Ms. Amanda Assan. Thank you very much, Amanda, for availing yourself this afternoon to share with us. I would encourage all of us to play active role, to engage as we discuss this topic. Once again, on behalf of the Governing Council, I want to welcome all of us, and I wish all of us an insightful and impactful session. Thank you very much. See you.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Madam Brenda. So we are just going to the main meal for today, and I want to introduce to you Ms. Amanda Assan. Amanda Assan brings a practical and forward-looking perspective to internal audit, with a strong focus on helping organizations strengthen their risk management and assurance functions in a rapidly evolving landscape. Amanda currently serves as a manager at PwC, where she supports the organizations in navigating complex risk environments and delivering more impactful audit outcomes. She is passionate about leveraging data and innovative tools to drive smarter decision making and enjoys engaging with professionals on how to move beyond the traditional audit approaches. She also serves, as Brenda says, as a member of the IIA Certification and Professional Development Committee, contributing to the advancement of the internal audit profession. Amanda is a chartered accountant and a certified internal auditor and holds a professional diploma in Iiag. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Ms. Amanda Hassan. Amanda, over to you. If you can.
Thank you, Madam. Thank you, Madam Brenda. Thank you, Eric. Well, welcome. Just confirm that you can hear and see me.
We can hear you nicely, and yes, we can see you too. Thank you.
Great, awesome. So just to say thank you for this opportunity, and I hope that and wish that today's session will be very impactful and all the objectives will be met and even more. So I'll just also turn my camera off so that we can get enough bandwidth. Also, please confirm, I'm going to put my screen up. So when it comes up, please let me know so that we can move on.
Your screen is visible now. Maybe you can take it to, yeah, present. Good. So now it's in presentation mode. Very good. Thank you.
Okay, great. All right. So just moving on to the objectives right away. So my wish for you today as participants, first of all, is to get to know the various AI tools that are available to us as internal auditors. Also to be able to experience various use cases across the audit's life cycle. Also equip you with a good understanding of how AI enhances our audit effectiveness. Also, how to also apply AI ethically and responsibly. And also, be here to also encourage you to build your AI capabilities. So just mark these down and then we'll just cross-check out at the end of this session to make sure that these objectives have been met. So moving on to today's section, we'll be broken down into 6 parts. First of all, introduction to AI and why AI is really the internal auditor's edge. Looking at AI across the audit life cycle. We'll also look at some pointers when it comes to judgments, ethics, and governance in using AI. And then also how do we build our AI future? And then, of course, the floor will be open for questions and answers. I want this to be as interactive as possible. So please make sure that you use the chat box as said. And also there'll be times that I'll ask you to maybe give me the thumbs up and so on. So just make sure that you're paying attention and then you are with me. Okay, so Eric, I think we can roll the poll out for participants to just get their thoughts. So there's a poll on your screen right now. I just want to see the participants when it comes to your level or when it comes to how you're using AI. So a few is coming up. I know we have a number of people on the call, so please feel free to let me know so that I can also engage a call. Okay, 32 so far. All right. So looking at the results, there is just a few people who are leading the adoption or driving the adoption. But it looks like many of us at least have had some interaction with AI when it comes to experimentation and using it regularly. So I would really love to hear from you. Time counts for Q&As. And for those who haven't started, don't worry. This is a good session for us to also understand and be able to apply it. So thank you all for applying to the poll so we can move on to the next. So let's move to what AI really is. I'm sure the AI has been the slang for a number of times throughout the year, this year, and then last year as well. But what really is AI? So I'll just give like a graphical representation of our understanding of AI. So first of all, when we talk about AI, is basically trying to use machine computer systems to be able to mimic or stimulate the way human beings' intelligence is really, from learning from various patterns, various data, and various data sets and databases to make sure that at least we can also, the AI or the technology will be able to make some decisions or to be able to make some give you some insights. Okay. So an individual can use information from here, has knowledge and so on to be able to make a decision. But right now, there's a technology what can mimic at least some component of the human being's intelligence. So that is what is called AI in a nutshell. And there are various subsections of AI. So this is a very good graphical representation. There are various branches as well. But let me just move to a step down or a step deeper when we go to machine learning. So when it comes to machine learning and deep learning, they are mostly really used by data scientists in a much more technical way. But for us as internal auditors who don't code, who don't use, are not data analysts or data scientists, we mostly will use the generative AI part of it. So when it comes to machine learning, just take it as if it's just a subfield of AI really, where it's used to improve performance over time. So even talk about the use of we know now there are self-driving cars. These were used for try and errors, and they've learned over the period to make sure that they're able to navigate obstacles, turns, and so on. So that was also it's a good example of machine learning. When it comes to deep learning is basically trying to mimic the human brain, where it has a lot of neurons, layers of information to be able to give some insight when it comes to processing data. But generative AI is what we mostly use, which is also deep learning, is where we have our ChatGPTs and the various AI tools that we use on a day-to-day basis, the co-pilots and so on, where we are given large amount of data, or there's large amount of data, and then these models are used to generate some content. So it can be videos, it can be audios, it can be text. Nowadays, we are very much entertained when it comes to these TikTok videos where really somebody puts in a prompt and so on, and it literally develops a whole story for entertainment. But all of these things are various examples that are woven into our lives. So some more examples on how AI is woven into our lives. It could also be used for email filtering, determining which emails are not solicited. Even if you are using your music as well for the Spotify, the Apple Music, YouTube, and so on. It's able to learn your preferences as time goes on and knows that, okay, so from this song, this is the kind of genre that I will be listening to. So AI does that to be able to make some recommendations for you to be there or to make sure that you have a good playlist. It even is able to analyze shopping trends. So divide people into groups and know what they like and then give them targeted market. Also, for those of us who have explored the world of gaming when it comes to maybe playing chess or on your phone, people will say they're playing with the computer. It's basically having an AI adapt to your moves and become stronger over time. Okay, Euphemia. Okay, so the next also, I think I gave an example of the self-driving cars and so on. The car will perceive your environment and then know how to navigate, because these are like driverless cars. There's no driver in it, so definitely you would need to get some sense of where the maps is and even navigate the best route as well. And then we have the Gen AIs. I think I've given some examples of where we even have entertainment, people, their whole like music songs that are typically generated from AI, no human intervention at all. These are all examples of Gen AI. So we'll now move into how this is our day-to-day life. So we'll now move into how this is also woven into the internal audit life cycle, right from planning to our reporting to our monitoring as well. So first of all, maybe we want to also understand why AI is really the internal auditor's new edge. I'll break this into about 5 components of why AI is the internal auditor's new edge. First of all, it gives us that speed. There are some tasks that if you were doing manually or doing just wholly as an individual, you would use so much time, even weeks, sometimes months, because you may need to vouch a whole lot of documents or look through various sources of information to be able to arrive at audit conclusions. In this case, AI gives us that speed and that edge. Also, AI is supposed to give us some coverage. So now if we realize that a place is very high risk and we want to do a level or a higher level or extent of testing, we, of course, would have sampled because the auditor's time is limited. And then we wanted, so maybe we'll just sample based on of course, our professional judgment. But in this time, we can even move from sample to really testing the entire population in even shorter time. Also, when it comes to quality, it gives us a very structured approach. Okay, so you're able to get that approach and for a group of auditors, it gives you that consistency as well. So when it comes to insights, sometimes because it has a lot of data, backed by a lot of data, it has learned data over time or information over time. It's able to give you some insight that may have taken a longer time, or you may not even have spotted if you were doing it as a regular human being with your limited capabilities. So it goes beyond what is wrong and then shows you the patterns of why something is occurring. And then, as mentioned, consistency. So assuming we have many branches, take a bank, and many teams, we need to do something to make sure that we arrive at the right conclusions or standardized conclusions. It's very good if we are able to use one prompt or one AI tool or agent that's going to give us some similar approach to how we are doing our testing. So this is like a toolkit or a very, what should I call it, a value proposition for why in the AI is really the internal auditor's new edge. Now, let's move to the AI toolkit as well for internal auditors. There are many, but I just wanted to break it down into various tools and their uses. So as Gen AI, as mentioned, the co-pilots, the ChatGPT, the Claude, and so on. What can we use it for? We can use it to draft our audit program and literally use it to summarize various documents, reports, bulky reports, and it can even help us brainstorm. Do that as well. When it comes to brainstorming, sometimes you have an idea, but AI just let it know what you are thinking about, and it's even able to punch holes in your argument and even give you ways to block that loophole. So it's a very good brainstorming tool. We also have agentic AI. So agentic AI is a much more broader aspect that also literally is more autonomous actually. So you build your agents and it's able to do certain tasks on your behalf and bring you the information. We will talk about it as we go ahead. So we have data snipper where it's able to even do your 3-way matching for you based on just matching your POs, your evidence and everything, and give you the solution that's, okay, yes, this is really matched correctly without you doing any intervention. And then there's those for data analytics, the ideas, MindBridge, and so on, that would help with risk scoring, population testing, and so on. And then also what we mostly will use the dashboards for. Some have now been more advanced, Copilot is embedded into Microsoft's, because of course, Copilot belongs to Microsoft. So it's now embedded into the suite, Microsoft suite, where now Power BI is also enhanced with AI capabilities. We also have Tableau that also has been enhanced with AI capabilities to be able to help us monitor risk and exceptions and give us that dashboard in a quick manner. Also, we have our teammate audit board, which have now also have some AI components to help us with our audit life cycle. So right from planning to documenting and execution, and also tracking our issues as well. So now let's look at AI across the audit life cycle. First of all, of course, we have to look at our planning and risk assessment. Okay, so just to look at our planning phase. Most of the time, of course, when we are doing our auditing, it's definitely going to be a risk-based audit. And how do you even come about the term a risk-based audit? It's based on the risk that we identify, and then we develop an audit approach to be able to address or test the controls that are addressing this risk. How can AI really help? You can literally use it to help you with your annual risk assessments, because from levels of information that it may have or it has learned over time, it will spot out some risks that you may not have even thought about. That's why I said it's a very key brainstorming tool. So you can use it for your risk assessments to be able to do your audit universe, where we are looking at all the various audits you'll be doing or can do. And then you'll be able to prioritize your audits based on the risk, the resources available. So what are the AI potentials here? Massive. You can use it even for your risk assessment. It can give you that output of your risk assessment reports. It can even help you to be able to scope out your work. It can even help you to put together your planning memo. You just need to put in the risk. Okay, so I'm an internal auditor. I'm going to do this kind of audit, procurement audit. And these are the risks. And then these are the people that, or the auditees that I'll be looking at. This is the level of controls and so on. And I'll just tell you that, you know what, help me with the planning memo. They will do it for you. And then, of course, you have to do the tweaks. And then it can even help you with your flow charting. Please confirm. I think some people have lost me. Please confirm that you can hear me.
Well, you are very loud and clear.
I hear you loud and clear.
So if anybody cannot hear, please, you may have to log off and come on again, because Amanda is very loud and clear. Thank you. Amanda, you can go.
All right, thanks for the feedback. Okay, so now when it comes to now our risk assessment, we can now even do our rankings, what we call the risk control matrix, where we are mapping the various risks, the various controls that we have. Most of the time, of course, when we are doing our process narratives to test our design effectiveness or to even understand the process that we are auditing, we would take notes, okay? Now, most of the time, the manual way, we would have now been written, and we now had like a whole write-up of the whole walkthrough in our notebooks or maybe a recorded version. Then now we have to come and transcribe and now map whatever the person has said to risk and controls. But now guess what you can do? You just have the written version, and then you look at the controls, because most sometimes you have process narratives, and it will match the risk and the various controls with limited time really spending on doing this documentation. What this does for you is it frees up time for you to be able to have more interactions with your auditee, rather than burying yourself in so much paperwork. So now let's go to the execution part. So we know that the execution would have to test the design of our controls and then test the operating effectiveness. I think as mentioned, you'd have to look at your walkthroughs, and it would even point out some of the risks there as well. And then help you even with the sample selection as well. But you can even use AI to test some of the controls on your own. So I'll give some practical examples as we move on. And then it can even help you reason, as I said, or brainstorm to see if this is an issue and how you're even going to count the issue. So what are some of the output that you can get? You can use it to create your data request list or document request list. You can use it to even generate working papers. Sometimes you're testing something different. You may need to, those days, you literally have to sit down, look out the window, and try and devise a way to test or have an efficient working paper, which will address the risk and then also help you get sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. And that sometimes can be very stressful. But the AI can help you to have this in a minute. So, of course, we started our risk and control matrix. So at the design stage, we would have had to finalize our RACU. And then it can help you even generate testing attributes. So what exactly the control are you testing? And guide you on the ways that you should look out for, point out some of the things that you should be looking at. And now let's go to stakeholder reporting. So this is putting together their report and then working with management or the audit team to be able to put together a good action plan. AI can help you to draft your observations. Sometimes you know something is an issue, but the words to put together to make it look like an issue can be stressful or can waste some time. Sometimes you want to moderate the tone or to make sure that whatever you are saying is speaking to the issue as it should. AI can help you to have these observations and then even help you to make appropriate recommendations, which are practical to your clients. And then also even help you to guide management on how or recommend something that they can do to address these risks that you identify. Also, it can even help you to track remediation as well. This would be a very good way when you're even having like with AI agents as well. There have been from the advanced side anyway, but there was a webinar for Institute of Internal Auditors. It's called All Things Internal Audit. I think I'll put the link at the end, where they describe various ways that you can use AI. And one that someone was sharing was literally being able to follow up on management comments and even following up during your audit monitoring or monitoring of implementation. So what it will literally do is to get the issue, what the issue is, get what management said it would do, and then get evidence of what management is doing to really check that really this is what is happening. Without you, the internal auditor now going to be facing management to find out if really this is not true. And as we know, this will really save us a lot of time. So in this state, the output will be recommendations, generation list of recommendations that it can help us in our report, even for continuous monitoring as described, with our audit report, making sure that it's very clear and then makes it straight to the point. And it can even guide management to put together a good action plan. Okay, so this is a very good use case when it comes to AI and then using AI across the audit life cycle. For those of us who have been started using AI, or for those of us who have been started using AI for internal auditing, I hope by this time you are being convinced and you see the practical use already. So now let's look at some of the ways AI can help to identify risk anomalies that maybe some traditional methods may miss. Of course, we are very smart and we are very experienced auditors. There are some things that we would see that we know that will raise red flags. But sometimes we are limited with time and so on. And you may miss some things, not because you are not skilled enough, but just that there's a lot to look at a point, or you just don't have enough time. But let's look at this use case. AI can help you to scan a full payment, imagine a full payment population and identify payments with similar invoice numbers, same bank account, same vendor, same amount, or they've tweaked the invoice in a way to make sure that it bypasses some thresholds. So at the end of this example, we'll just do a quick demo to just show you how this particular example will look like. Then what can it also do? It can also help you identify split purchases. So assuming that they said the threshold is 20,000. Now, in order to bypass the going to all the procurement committee and so on, somebody would decide to split it to 19,500 to 20,000 and so much. So it doesn't hit some threshold and to trigger some controls. In that case, AI can detect these anomalies if there are some repeated patterns. Also, in the same podcast that I was referring to earlier, there was an example that AI detected, and the person was just taking $2, $2, $2. If you look at as an auditor, if you just look at $2 or 2 cedis, it may not, you may say, okay, maybe this is maybe a system charge or it's a bank charge or something very little minute. Apparently, they were little drops of water, which had added up to make a huge fraud case. So this helps also when it comes to using AI to detect anomalies. Also, unusual journal entries, it can flag those as well. And even with payrolls, where we are now looking at ghost workers, duplicate bank accounts, people who have left the firm or the company but are still being paid, people are getting unusual overtime and unusual allowances. AI will be able to flag this without you now doing so much digging and these forensic reviews. Also, it can even help you with various procurement and vendor risk or vendor sourcing. So I think I also mentioned this earlier. So if there are sudden price increase, unusual contracts awards that look funny, AI would have been able to look at the trend and trigger it already before you are now even come to do the digging. So this also, as I said, frees up your time so that now, okay, now AI has given you the results that, okay, Amanda, it looks like this is quite unusual. Then it will trigger my attention and then I can probe further rather than now trying to devise a way, which you may have found this all right. Like maybe you'd have found this 3 weeks or 4 weeks later, and maybe the fraud has still been going on. So these are very practical ways where traditional methods may miss or may not catch it in time. So now we'll do a quick demo, okay? So I'm sure when I share the slides, you can also try it on your own. But assuming that your procurement policy says that any purchase above 50,000 must be approved by the procurement committee, you want to use AI to check whether staff has patent purchases to avoid approval, because if it goes above 50,000, you may need to go to the procurement committee. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this prompt. The prompt I'm going to use this tool, and the tool I'm going to use is Copilot. So the prompt is, I'm an internal auditor performing a procurement audit. Our procurement policy says any purchase above 50,000 must be approved by the procurement committee. Please check whether staff are splitting purchases to avoid approval and whether there are any duplicates or suspicious payments. So this is very straight to the point. And also I'm asking the AI to know what exactly to do and what to find out for me. So I'm going to share my screen on Copilot and then please follow. Please let me know when the Copilot comes up or when my other screen comes up. Yes, I'm now about to share it. So in the next slide, I'll show you is a data set. Okay, so now please confirm when the Copilot comes.
Let's see it now.
Okay, great. So this is a prompt I read I'm going to put in the data set, okay, from the slides. And now I'm going to also add the prompts that I mentioned earlier, that I am an internal auditor and I'm performing a procurement audit. So in this case, let's see what it gives you. So from this already,
The one that I'll stand once in them. What's your
okay, so Helen Anaba, can you mute? Okay. All right. So there's a structured, what Copilot is telling me is that there is a possible split that has happened because of the threshold of 50,000. It has given me 3 instances. The requester was Kofi Mensah, and then the vendor was Alpha Tech Limited. These were the dates, 2026, both in 2026 anyway. And these were the invoices. Now I realized that because it's 50,000, they have, Kofi Mensah has split the thing into 48,500, 47,800, 46,900, so that it will still be below the 50,000, so that it bypasses procurement committee. Now, when you add all of these instances, you are getting 143,200. And you realize that this is a high risk case that has been identified from the IT department. So also, there's another one from Iiag, where she has also brought something from People Care. And also the invoice, the notes look funny, but it's literally the same thing that she may have been requesting for regarding a training. So when she said the training workshop, now that one is training materials, but when you add all of these up, you are still getting your 50,000. So why is it that when you are doing the training, you didn't request all of this at the same time? And it's between a span of 3 days. So it's not because you forgot something and you kept doing for 3 consecutive times. That's quite big, maybe a bit fishy. We are not saying that these are conclusive, as we know as auditors. We may need to gather more evidence, but this shows us that there's a possibility of that split. Also, there are some duplicates and suspicious payments as well. So the vendor here is Office Pro. The Pro and the Office is separated for the first split. Now, there's another Office Pro together now by Amagwating. So is it that there was an issue with the vendor master list where Office Pro, the spelling of Office Pro is wrong, or really there's a fraud that is going on? This also shows that even the invoice number is also the same. So is it that we approved for, and then the amount is even the same? So it's giving us an instance where maybe the approval looks a bit fishy or funny. Also, there are some compliance issues because they said 50,000, but somebody has gone to approve 62,000 worth of an invoice. So that means that they bypassed procurement committee, and that shouldn't have even happened in the first place. So these are even 3 instances when it comes to being able to navigate anomalies. So now let's move on to, I'll also come back again. Now I'll ask the AI, okay, that review for each issue, explain the risk, the evidence from data, and then give me the audit follow-up question that we should ask. So, quick one. So back to Copilot, I'm going to be now asking it that, okay, for each issue, explain the risk, the evidence from the data, and the audit follow-up I should ask management. And I'll say maybe put it in a table form. So now I know what really I'm going to be targeting or asking management based on the issues. Okay, so first of all, there were some high risk issues. So I'm going to be asking these questions when they come up. That, okay, there was a possible split of IT issue. These were the evidence. Then I'll ask, why were these similar IT purchases not consolidated into one procurement so that the procurement committee can approve it? And also, why is that we've split training transactions? Why didn't we just merge it all into one? Also, we can ask the questions about the duplicates. We can also ask why somebody approved 62,000 worth of an invoice when it should have been just, it should have gone to the procurement committee. So all of these things should be looked at. Okay, so now this is just a demo that you can do. I know as skilled auditors, we would have found it one way or the other, but maybe it would have taken us longer time. But guess what? We've been able to do it in a couple of minutes or in just a few minutes. So that's also one benefit of using AI. So now back to our slides. So this is just a summary of how the red flag, the evidence, or whatever I said, this is a summary of it and what I think I should be asking management. So we can refer to it when we are looking at our slides after this session. Also, when it comes to AI, we also have to know that whatever output that you are given, it's not AI's responsibility, it is your responsibility because AI is just a tool. Whatever happens is your responsibility. Just take it as delegation. You've delegated some task, and as we know, one of the areas of delegation or good delegation is that whatever that you've delegated is still your responsibility. So that brings us to the issue of judgment, ethics, and governance. So now, I want to highlight 4 risks when it comes to AI. First being hallucination. I'll give you an example of personal hallucination. So when the internal audit standards came out fresh, I had been researching online for the internal audits just to give them guidance. First of all, I saw some of the documents as quite bulky, So I just wanted to see and also get more information than what maybe IIAGHANA has provided. If anybody has done some podcasts, if anybody has done some thought leadership that they've shared online. So I was like, you know what, we have AI, so let me just reach out to ChatGPT. And I asked, okay, so the new AI standard and internal audit standards have come up. So can you summarize internal audit and the standards and just tell me the key points for each? It literally gave me its own version of the internal audit standard. So when I got the output, it sounded very confident. It sounded that it knew what it was about. But I realized that something didn't look right. These standards don't look like what I've read. So then I went back to the standards and I realized that the principles, the domains are nowhere to be found. So that means that it went to generate its own standards for me. And if I hadn't verified, I would have used or I would have consumed wrong information. So that is what is called hallucination. But now the AI standards have been there for a while. So I'm thinking that when you ask the ChatGPT or whatever model, I'm sure it will be able to give you more accurate information. But that's just an example. So what hallucination does is that because it's been programmed to give you, because AI has been programmed to give you answers, even if it doesn't have the right source, it will give you something. So just like going to buy something from a store where somebody's telling you, I have it. Meanwhile, the person doesn't have it and gives you something that looks like what you are looking for, confidently. So one way that you can do it is to verify every output against the source document, which I did. Next will be on confidentiality. We cannot put sensitive information into public AI tools. You can't go and put payroll, somebody's pay slip into mainstream ChatGPT. You can't do that. You can't go and put someone's health status and other personal house address and things like that. Things that will trace to a specific person into public AI tools. You can't do that because that exposes and infringes on confidentiality. So always make sure that you never paste PIs or personal identification information into public models. Also, there will be biases because AI models are learn on information. Whatever they may give you may be skewed or unfair or give you some one-sided output. That is because whatever is being learned or whatever it uses to generate its output may be limited. Okay. So in this case, you need to also verify every output against the source document to make sure that you have the right thing. Also, over-reliance. There's a very high probability that now you may just want to delegate everything to AI and be very dependent on AI output. It's good, of course, to free your time. But as I said, you have to also know the balance. So also, when you put in, because of, as we said, AI also learns on various databases, which may not even be true, but that's the knowledge base it has. If you are too over-reliant on it, you may be making wrong judgments. So the auditor's cap or the auditor's brain of professional skepticism should always be maintained. So these are some of the risks that I want to highlight when it comes to using AI. So now moving on to 3 pillars when it comes to governance. I think I've already spoken about the confidentiality. So when you're talking about an enterprise tool, some of us are working in companies or firms where it would have been purchased for us, AI tools would have been purchased for us, where maybe we bought Microsoft the suite for us, which includes Copilot. So in that case, we already have the enterprise tools. Very likely that IT or whoever is managing your technology tools may have put in some guardrails so that whatever information is generated in the company doesn't go out, or the AI doesn't learn on your model and then go take it out into the open. So in that case, you have to make sure that if you are lucky or beneficial to have these enterprise tools, you use them and use them appropriately. Also, please anonymize data. Don't put personal identifiable information into your AI models because that is also very risky. Also, don't put bank statements, pay slips, and so on, as mentioned. So also, make sure that AI errors are errors. They are because are your errors, as mentioned. Don't say that it's AI who did it, but it is just a tool you are using. So whatever you have delegated, you need to take responsibility for it. And also, when AI results have been generated and without any output or tweaks to it, please disclose that this is our AI-generated outputs. Also, test for bias, disclose AI use, and then respect privacy rights. So these are all tied into what we've spoken at the beginning. So AI augments professional judgment. It does not replace it. So AI is not the auditor. AI is not, it is a tool that we have to use. We are not shunning our responsibilities to the AI because whatever output it gives is still us. So we still need to perform professional judgment because because of how we know the business context that we are working in, we would use our experience to determine which risks matter most. We use our experience to really see if the exception that AI is saying is really an exception. Will be based on our professional judgment. We also, for management explanation that may come up, from our experience of the company that we are in, it helps us to challenge management explanations and to really check if the evidence that has been given us is reliable, even if it looks good, because we know we've been there for a while, there may be something that may still not add up, even if AI clears it as right. And determine the root cause. AI can give you probabilities, but because you've been in the entity for a while, you can give more context to give a very good root cause. Also, you can use it to even assess the impact of your control weakness. AI is just to guide you and a tool, but because you, as I said, you know the company that you work in, you are able to give a better context and give you better results. Also, it would help. You can, from your professional experience or your experience with your entity that you're working, you're able to use your professional judgment to communicate findings fairly and professionally. I think we've spoken about communication for a while now, so we need to make sure that we use our professional, our institutional memory, our understanding to be able to communicate our audit issues in a very respectful and professional manner. So, moving on, how do I build my AI feature capabilities? Because I know that now we are very much happy to adopt AI in internal audit based on these use cases. So first of all, I'll give you a 30-day challenge to be able to assess your, to be able to start your AI acceleration. First of all, you need to choose one assistant and use it daily. I like to use Copilot because, but of course, there are lots based on your entity that you are in and what you've paid for. Because a Copilot is built into Microsoft apps, it's easier to use, but there's so many people use Claude, people use Gemini, people use other agents and so on. So choose one and use it daily. Also take a free prompt engineering course. What is prompt engineering? It's literally what I put in the Copilot that I was demonstrating to give me a response. If you give it a bad prompt, or if you give it a vague prompt, you will get a vague answer. So it's literally garbage in, garbage out. So you have to make sure that you are giving it the right context, the right persona, so that you can get the match results that you are looking for. And then you can also even practice audits, pass audits. But of course, as mentioned, make sure that you anonymize your information. You can build your own personal prompts library. So if you realize that this prompt works for you, when you're doing procurement audit, you can save them and then use them or share that prompt with your colleagues to also use them. So then once you've built your capabilities, you can try it on live audits with your planning and reports, maybe not the execution, but with the planning. Can help it to identify some risk. You can use it to do your risk and control matrix. You can even use it for drafting audit findings as well. And you can also learn an analytics tool so that you'll be able to manipulate the data well to get the yielded input. And that will also let you know which kind of tool you need for which kind of job. Then please feel free to share so that your team would also benefit from you. And document, you can use it also you can document your time saved and then your quality gains. If you build these capabilities, I'm sure you can now move on to the next stage where you can even now use it to identify these anomalies in your execution. You can use it to develop your working, your, what do you call it? Your templates for documentation and so on. But this is just a 30-day challenge. So if you build your capabilities here, you can literally pivot and be an AI champion. So now let's move to prompting, or let's dig deep into prompting. So as I said, what is prompting? Prompting is literally what you tell the AI to do or what you nudge it to do. So I'm going to use a mnemonic called CRAFT. Context, the role, action, and the format, and then you tweak it. So you have to in developing your prompt, you need to describe who you are or what situation. So what I remember from the example that I gave, I said I am an internal auditor. And what is the situation? I am performing a procurement audit. So that fits into the C. So who should the AI act as? It should also act as an internal auditor. So I'll tell it what to do. So what am I telling it to do? I'm telling it to make sure to pick out anomalies in the data set. How should the output look like? That's why I told it to look like in a table form. So put it in a table form. And if there are any tone tweaks or it should do, what style should it come in? Sometimes you may need to, the tone and tweaks, you may need to do it as you get more information. So maybe the output comes at first. You're like, no, I think I want it to sound softer. You can say, can you make this sound softer? Can you make this sound more convincing? Can you make it sound more assertive? In that case, these are the styles. What are the constraints? Maybe you may want to give it that, okay, can you look at these 3 days in the 26th to 28th because it's getting to the end of the month. let's look at those ones to make sure that people didn't do a lot of things when they were closing the books. So we can put those constraints there as well. So if you're able to fulfill these craft or these elements of a good prompt, you should be able to get good results from your AI. As I said, it's not conclusive. You always need to use your professional judgment. So now I would want to get some output from you as well. So the scenario is you are auditing a new vendor auditing onboarding process. In fairness, I'm going to give you 2 minutes because I'll be reading some of them out. In 3 minutes, draft a prompt you'd use and then drop it in the chat based on what I've said. So I'm going to go back to the craft and then you can look at it to devise your own prompt. So first of all, you are auditing a new vendor onboarding process. And then what are the prompts that you'd use? Let's say that you want to use it for your planning, your risk and control matrix. Yes. So in that case, what should you be asking the AI to do? Please drop it in the chat. So you can look at this to be able to do your prompt. Please feel free to drop it in the chat. Make sure that you give the context. Okay, the scenario. You're auditing the new vendor onboarding process. What I'm adding to it is that now let's just limit it to when you are doing your risk and control matrix. What would you be asking the AI to help you with? Okay, anyone to attempt? So in this case, if you may just also give some context, we are looking at the whole process. So not just the vendor, one vendor. We are looking at a new vendor onboarding process that you are doing. Okay, so we are just testing as auditors to ensure that it's designed well and also operating effectively. Okay, so Abednego said, okay, so let me start from Gifty. I am the lead auditor reviewing the onboarding process. Onboarding of new vendors. Provide the risk areas that need to be considered in order to get the vendors with the requisite capabilities to provide value for money. Very specific. Thank you, Gifty. The next one is Abednego. I'm an internal auditor. I'm auditing a new vendor onboarding process. What are the key risk matrices that I should look out for? So maybe Abednego, in this case, you may also want to look at in which form that you want it to come out as so that you can give it some more context. Okay, someone has given us a 10-step process. All right. Please perform the following. Identify the risk at each stage, identify expected controls, assess whether the controls appear preventive, detective, or corrective, up to 10, where it's providing potential audit observation. So I'll just take the last 2. I am the internal auditor for the internal audit of a new vendor onboarding process. Please identify the high-risk areas for audit. What will be the objectives of the review? What audit tests will be performed? Okay. So, Mary, maybe just also to add on, in this case, of course, we will also want to predict what would happen, but I think that maybe you may not want to look at the potential findings already. Maybe let's look at the risk, and then it can even guide you on what to look out for so that you can get your findings. Because if you give it the potential findings without information, it will bring out that risk of hallucination, as mentioned. It would predict things that may not even be there. Okay. So Prince says that you should present the key risk in a tabular form, and then also the associated controls and this with this process. So thank you. I feel very confident in the work I've done so far. Okay, so the evaluation criteria, did you give it an AI persona? That's basically you saying you're an internal auditor and so on. Did you talk about the industry? So what you can also consider is the industry that you are working in. It can give you more context. Was it clear and specific what you were asking the AI tool to do? Did you specify the output format? I think somebody said put it in a tabular form. Also, did you limit it? What focus areas you should be looking at or what they should exclude? These are things that you can look at when it comes to prompting. So now, one food for thought. AI will not replace you, but a person with AI, using AI will. So please, let's not be scared of the AI, because whatever you do, somebody's using it. So let's embrace it and then have an open mindset to be able to learn about the possibilities of AI. So there's some additional resources. These are all podcasts from the Global Institute of Internal Auditors on a podcast called All Things Internal Audit. You can listen to them. The links will be in the slides beyond the 3 lines as well, so they can listen to all of these and then enrich your knowledge when it comes to the use of AI in internal audit. So this brings me to the first part of my session. I think the next part will be the Q&A, which I would leave Madam Breda to moderate. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Amanda, for such an insightful presentation. I have learned a lot, and I'm sure all of us have. And so now we are ready for any questions. Any questions? Please, somebody should mute. Okay. So it's time for questions and answers and comments. And so kindly share your questions in the chat box. After we have answered those ones, we'll see if we can take some few voice questions. But now I want to take your comments, questions in the chat box. Amanda, you're having a lot of thumbs up for a very insightful presentation.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Madam Breda, maybe we want to also share the presentation with them. I think
yes, kindly share the presentation with Eric and myself.
Okay. I think
yes.
I sent it to you, but let me in your mail.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Okay. There are no questions as at now.
I think 2 people have raised their hands also.
They raised their hands. Okay. Oh. Unfortunately, I'm not seeing hands raised.
I think I can share the presentation in the chat as well, so I'm going to do it.
Check the last 2 comments now. Hello.
Okay.
Okay. So, Anthony is asking, are there any differences between the good old cats and AI? And then the second one is, what would be your recommendation on the use of some of these AI tools that are sold on the web? Example, Cursive. Amanda?
Okay, so okay, that's the only question.
Yes, you can answer that and then we'll move on.
Okay, all right. Okay, so first of all, maybe starting with the second one, the question was on the use of what is my recommendation when the use of some of these AI tools that are being sold? What I would say is that you need to put everything into context. So, first of all, what do you want to use it for? That will determine what kind of tool you'd want to purchase. It always is very good to get a purchase than an open source software or open source agent, because if it's purchased, then you can also even get the memory, because when you use the open ChatGPT, you cannot go back to your various prompts. You cannot save the prompts that you were using. So it's very good that you purchase one and then use it. You can always refer to it, and it gives you more features as compared to the open one. But as mentioned earlier, there are various tools that you can use depending on your circumstances. So you could use the generative AI tools, the co-pilots, the ChatGPT. They have, although they look very simple, they have a lot of unlimited potential that you can also even exploit for. So you have to look at what you're looking for. If you are even doing something that is more data analytic, then maybe you want to look at the tableaus and so on, which is more data analytics and dashboarding and so on. So you have to look at your context as an internal auditor, what the specialty is, and then that would also inform you on what tool to choose. You should also look at the budget, because some are more expensive than others. So what is your firm really willing to pay? That will also determine on what you can also purchase or what you can buy for AI agents or AI and tools that you want to use. So looking at computer assisted audit tools, I think that's what we're talking about, I guess. In that case, now what you see more is that these tools have AI embedded into them. Okay. So the ideas, the ACLs, and so on now also have AI enhanced features. So it's the same, because it's still computer assisted anyway, but now AI has been added to it to give it much more value. So it now works hand in hand to be able to make sure that, okay, you are using a computer assisted tool for your audit, but it's enhanced with AI. So that will be my take on the first question. I think it was a twin questions.
Thank you. So our next question is maybe there's no question, comment. Thanks very much for demonstrating and assuring internal auditors on the use of AI. My concern has been with confidentiality, AI governance, and disclosure. And I think you have spoken about it. But if you have any comments, I will add other questions and then you would respond. And Derry is also saying, thank you, Amanda, for the eloquent and insightful presentation on the use of AI by internal auditors. Your ability to clearly articulate both the opportunities and practical applications of AI in the audit profession was truly impressive. So the second question would be, how can you humanize your report so that it cannot be detected as an AI report? And yes, Anthony is saying kudos for the hard work, Amanda. So I think you can comment on the two and then.
Okay, I think there was also one about, these tools analyze large data? Yes, it can. But also, as I said, make sure that you've anonymized the information. You're not putting sensitive information out there. So when we talk about humanizing your reports, you realize that for those of us who have used AI in our reports or for our outputs, first of all, you realize that AI-generated reports are very verbose, using a lot of what we call grammar, a lot of words that you wouldn't use in your day-to-day reporting. The people that you work with, they know how you they know how you speak, they know your tone. So yes, AI will give you that insight, and then you can also tweak it to make it sound like how you would type normally. You may need to tone down some of the words that it will use, because sometimes it uses too big words which you wouldn't use on your day-to-day basis. So in this ones, you can find simpler synonyms to be able to humanize it. You also realize that it may be putting some dashes where it's not really needed as some output. So in that case, you may also need to read that part and then restructure it. It may also be putting commas and the word "and" in some places that you will normally not be writing there. So those places should also be looked at, and then you can also put those touches there. As I said, AI is just a tool, so you are responsible for every output. So make sure that how it comes out, you just change the words and the tone to make it sound more like you, because your people know you and they know how you talk. So that would be my
All
my
right.
take.
Thank you. John is asking, can you share some of the AI tools tailored to internal audit? I think you mentioned some of them, but you can rehash. And then John is asking again, is it ethical to use AI to draft final report for CEOs and boards?
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So maybe let's start from the tools. I think so. And again, when we look at the slides, I think I had a table of the type of AI and then the tools. So a simple one can be the generative agents that we have. You can use it to even develop things further, or even give you some codes as well. So you can use the Copilot, you can use the ChatGPT, the Geminis to be able to give you good work as well, especially for internal auditing. But as I said, if you are doing more of like the data analytics, you may also be looking at the tableaus and the ideas and so on. You can also even be using data snipper. So data snipper can literally take information from a scanned document and help you populate your testing table. Okay, rather than now going to do the manual check and now come to do the documentation, data snipper can help with that as well. So depending on your use case, I think that the for a beginner or for an intermediate, the generative AI and data snipper is good enough for you. And if you want to advance, you can look at other much more advanced state of AI agents. So when it comes to also giving board level and executive level reports, I don't think it's a problem to help you to draft these reports. But as mentioned, make sure that the tone is appropriate. Okay. The dashes and the ands and then the verbose shouldn't be something that you just let go. You should make sure that you tweak it to sound like the tone of your company, because you know that every company or every institution has its way of communication. Okay. So you as the internal auditor can give it that context. But you can use it to give you the leads, you can use it to give you the first drafts, and then you can modify it to suit the context of your environment. So when it comes to ethical, we should change our mindset that AI is not bad, it's just a tool. And how you use it is what really matters.
All right. Thank you. Samuel is saying, agreed, Amanda. The dashes there. Once you leave it, it appears clearly AI, because most people don't use dashes in their regular writing. It's good to ensure you delete or replace all dashes, in my opinion. So we have also shared our survey in the chat box. So kindly respond for us to help us improve on our service delivery. Samuel is saying that while AI can significantly increase the volume and scope of audit work performed, what additional effort is required to review, validate, and document AI-generated outputs? And how can auditors ensure that the efficiency gains in AI are not offset by the increased review burden?
Yeah,
And
so
then,
yeah, okay.
let me, how do we determine whether the time saved by AI exceeds the time required to review and validate its outputs, especially for high-risk audit engagement? So Amanda, you can go, then I will continue with the other questions.
I think the two are even kind of like similar. So,
Yes.
yes, so trust me, I think that AI saves us some time, okay? But as I said, you have to make sure that you are the one who does the moderation. So the time that you'd have used to do the lot of the evaluation of bearing, assuming that you were going to be using maybe an hour to do some data work, you'd be using 5 minutes to now get an AI generated output. You can use 10 minutes to 15 minutes to just make those corrections and tweaks. And then you still save yourself some 30 more minutes. Okay. But also, in order to get very quality output so that that wouldn't have a lot of rework, you need to give it accurate information because it will be working on the information that you give it. Garbage in, garbage out. So you need to give it credible and accurate, complete information as much as possible. And your prompts have to be always also very complete and whole. Because if you, whatever you tell it to do is what it will really do. So make sure that whatever you are doing as a prompt is very clear so that it reduces the instances of rework as much as possible. So your prompts have to be clear, and you also have to give it credible, accurate, and complete information as much as possible. That saves you the time and leaves you better quality. And it will definitely reduce your review time when you have these in place.
Thank you. Bismarck is asking, are these AI tools for free or it comes with a cost?
Okay.
And then I think a question on examples, I think you have spoken about that. So I'll move to the other question. In addition to what she has said, so there's a comment. You may also consider creating agents, Copilot or Project Cloud to suit the context and help to suit the context by help of specific instructions and materials you are working with. So this is additional information for us. Okay. So the other question is Chat, GTP, and Claude, which is more preferable in audit work? And then can excessive reliance on AI create a false sense of assurance if reviewers are unable to thoroughly assess large volumes of AI-generated work? How do we document our review of AI outputs to demonstrate due professional care? All right. So Amanda, you can go on.
Questions are very loaded. So maybe let's start with the last one. So let's just start or maybe let's just start with the Claude and the ChatGPT. I think that is easier to respond to.
Okay.
So for me, depending on what you are doing, really, will depend on the kind of tool you should select. For basic report writing, internal audits, risk and control matrix, if you have the full Microsoft suite, I think you can use Copilot to work just fine. You can also use so the ChatGPT and Claude. I think that people who do more of these coding and more technical and IT stuff would go for the Claudes because So if you're maybe you are an IT auditor, or you are somebody who does some quality assurance for developing apps or finding some vulnerabilities, I think Claude will be a better option for you. But if you're just doing the basics, you can use either of them depending on your preference, because you know that your environment, as in the company that you are in, may not allow some tools. So you also have to look at if your company is allowing Claude, fine. If your company is allowing ChatGPT, fine, then you can also adapt to it based on the use case. What I would also add is that if your company has not started putting any governance of AI in place, you as an internal auditor, as a trusted advisor, should recommend these tools right away, or these guardrails right away, before the unfortunate happens. So that if we need to block some sites, you need to block or have what you classify as because every company also have their data classification. So emphasis on data classification as things need, or even education, have to also be in place. So if your company hasn't been proactive about the use of AI, you as an internal auditor need to champion this cause so that there's effective AI governance, and then it will help you even with the tools that you need to purchase. Because some management may not really be enthused about the use of AI, but as I said, if you're not using it, somebody is still using it anyway. For all you know, somebody has gone to put the company's information in their free version because the company decided not to pay. So us as internal auditors, it's good to communicate these benefits and these risks, and then we can modify it based on our risk appetite. So I know it's a very long answer to this short question, but I guess we may cover some of the questions that you also asked.
Thank you, Amanda. Are these AI tools free, or it comes at a cost?
Okay, so we have free versions of some of these, like ChatGPT. There's a free version, but may not come with all the functionalities as a paid version. Okay, so some are free, but it would be good if you get a paid version, as I said, so that you can keep some of your prompts. You can get a library for your prompt so that it makes your work faster. You don't have to always be rewriting. When you use the free version of ChatGPT today and you put in a prompt and reload the web page tomorrow, you will not get your history of all the prompt that you did. So you may have to make sure that as much as possible you get the paid version to help you with all the functionalities you may need, all the features you may need, and then the continuity that you need as well. So some are free, but some are also all of them will be paid. You can pay for it, but it's very much more preferable to get the paid versions.
Thank you. Okay, there's a question here I'm trying to understand, but maybe I think it's what are the implications for sharing personalized information on AI tools?
Okay, so first of all, this is like a standard data privacy rule. It is not allowed to share any private information on any domain. It's just like posting somebody's payslip or posting somebody's health status on your Facebook page. That's not right. And you can even be liable to be sued. Okay, so that's one of the implications. So the basics of data privacy apply to this as well. So one of the implications, first of all, if I'm somebody who can do the data mining or somebody who is even involved in social engineering, phishing, vision, to be able to hack into a system, if some sensitive information has been leaked in ChatGPT, I can mine into these databases and get some information from you that can be used to, I can trace it back to you so that I can use this for my phishing schemes or my social engineering schemes and get some and make some hacking gains from it. Okay. So first of all, data privacy is a must, even with AI or not, because you can be liable to suits. You can be exposing yourself as an individual. You can be exposing your company to there are some things that are sensitive, so you cannot be out there. So all of these things are to protect yourself as an individual, to protect your company, and to also protect others that you work with. So if you know these as basis of data privacy, they also apply to AI, and they are all things that you're supposed to be looking out for when it comes to the implications of putting personal information in AI tools.
Thank you very much. I think our last comment, a very insightful presentation from Dr. KK. I like the emphasis that AI is just a tool, hence the auditor's skills and knowledge are still very relevant to the output. Baggage in, baggage out, truly. On this note, I want to hand over to Eric, and I want to say thank you very much, Amanda, for the insightful presentation. Our survey is in the chat box, and so members kindly go and answer the survey for us so that we can improve on the service delivery. Thank you very much. Reverend.
Thank you very much, Amanda. Thank you so much, Brenda. We are just at the tail end of our program for today, and I want to invite Mrs. Elizabeth Quatinte to just share some few words and closing remarks with us before we close. Over to you, Elizabeth. I don't know if Elizabeth is still on there. Okay.
Hello, Eric.
Yes, we can hear you now. Yes, so thank you. We can hear you now.
Great. I mean, for the insights Amanda has shared, we are aware that the possibilities for AI are endless, and it just requires a lot of practice and application to our daily tasks or daily activity. I mean, this morning I listened to a YouTube video where a lady had built AI board of directors. And this AI board of directors are the one giving her insights, excuse me, to manage her work or her business. So there's so much we can do with it. So thank you very much, Amanda, for the practical scenarios you've shared for us to work with, and they really resonate with us. I would also say, are you equal to the certification and then the professional development committee for putting this together? We thank you. For the Secretariat for your coordination role too, we say thank you. And then to Council for being the executive sponsor for your continuous support. And then to you, our honorable participants, we say thank you for your audience and then your engagement, because without you, you wouldn't have been able to have this webinar. So thank you. Please do well to give us feedback in the link that has been shared. And for the recording of this session, you would get it on our YouTube channel. So please subscribe and then turn on your notification bell as well. CEO has promised that he would upload all the backlog as well as this one as well. So keep tabs on that. And then for the slides, you will get it accordingly. Now, in terms of our announcements that we should take note of, we are still in the anniversary or celebration mode. We have outlined the 25th anniversary program, and majority of them would happen in October. So on Friday, the 9th of October, we would have the Muslim Thanksgiving service that will be held concurrently in Accra, Kumasi, and other selected locations. So we will share the details later on. On Wednesday, the 14th of October, we would have the governance forum. Then Thursday and then Friday, 15th and 16th of October, there will be the 2-day annual conference. On Saturday, the 17th of October, there will be the gala night and awards ceremony. On Sunday, we will crown it all with a Christian Thanksgiving, which will be on the 18th of October. Now, if you are a member and you've not paid your 2026 subscription, you still have up until the end of this month to regularize your membership. And as you do so, there will be some t-shirts that will be shared with you accordingly. On 22nd to 24th of June, which is the end of this month, there will be the international conference, and they still have the opportunity to attend as well. Then our AGM would happen next month. The details will be communicated accordingly. But if you're not a member in good standing, you may not be able to vote on matters that would be put before the AGM. And then we just ended the internal audit month. So if you have some pictures to share with us, please do well to share with the secretariat so that we can compile all together and then share with all our members. And then there's a survey that is currently ongoing for our stakeholders to tell us what they consider as value. And that would take no less than 10 to 15 minutes. So please share the link with your stakeholders, your audit committee members, your executive management, and your process owners as internal auditors for them to tell us what they would require from us. The link and then the communique has been shared on our social media platform, which is WhatsApp. So please maximize it and then share it with your stakeholders. With that said, I would really thank you to everyone for joining the June editions of the webinar, and we look forward to more engagement in the coming months. Mr. Moderator, see you. Back to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. And thank you once again, all our cherished members and stakeholders for joining this webinar. I have just attached the presentation in the chat box. So we're going to just give ourselves some 2-3 minutes for everyone to download it, and then we'll proceed from it. So if you are on, just go to the chat box and then click on download. The presentation is right there. We'll give everybody maybe 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, we'll close the lesson. And then the YouTube handle is the Institute of Internal Affairs Ghana. The Institute of Internal Affairs Ghana. Just type it.
Hello, please.
That is it for us. Thank you so much. And we would be in touch with all of us. Thank you. Bye.